That's about
They
it.
need to take.
No, this is about, like-
Give him a better deal. He deserves it.
Very interesting about catastrophic events. Right? I did get your call. I'm not ignoring you, and I did find a Mason planning.
All right, we'll go ahead
Grab me after this.
and call the meeting to order.
Sorry.
Any staff or trustee additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, staff does not have any additions or deletions. I would like to make a comment at the end of the meeting, however.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that motion carries. Public comments, Ms. Lindley?
Good evening, trustees. As you know, thousands of dollars to me are wasted each month in maintaining these hospital buildings. You as a board member, are you afraid to ask the board attorney, Fred Coberline, for an expedited opinion from the Attorney General's office on the legality of this board, which was created by a special act of the legislature? This enabling legislation, which created a hospital authority, clearly states that one member will be a practicing physician at the hospital. As you know, there's no operating hospital and has not been since September 2020. The board has everything to fear including itself. Ask for an opinion. It is apparent that the indigent population, which the authority is designed and legally constituted to serve, their needs have been met. In the backup material, there's information from the Columbia County Health Department where an email letter was sent in November, and I'll ask Mr. Williams, why wasn't this brought up at the December, January meeting in connection with what the health department would like to do as far as the dental?
It was not brought up because it was decided it would best be part of a response to the RFP.
Okay. And on the consent agenda, there's information from the Lake City Medical Center. There's information for October, November, and December. But there was no information available for June, July, August, and September. The document was signed in May to provide services to the authority clients. Were any clients serviced during May, June, July, and August?
Can I answer that?
Does anyone know?
Yes, they were, but it's 90 days. They have up to 90 days to submit a bill, and they submitted a bill for the previous 90 days, which was October, November, and December.
Okay, how many clients were served at the medical center?
I would have to go back, Barbara, and look at all of that.
You know, it would be informative to indicate how many clients or authority customers, whatever their correct name is. And there was one inpatient, like to know if that was one inpatient or two inpatients or three inpatients. So we'll just, eliminate questions if the information was there. And all the other things will be discussed later at the appropriate time when it comes up for discussion.
Ms.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, I was about to ask if anybody on the Zoom meeting had any comments. Thank you, Mr. Lilford. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to commend you to keeping and the board for keeping the Zoom meetings going. Call from the NOC is like Cecil B. DeMille. Unlike Lake City, where you can't understand anything most of the time, the Lake Shore Hospital Authority is always spot on with these meetings. And I thank you for that. And I think the public thanks you for that when they ever go back and look at these things. That being said, regarding the RFP or RFQ or request for proposals regarding statements of interest, I spoke with Sonia earlier today. Two of the exhibits have not been attached to the RFP. I've looked at the RFP. I don't see anywhere on the RFP where the Lakeshore Hospital Authority attorney, was also the attorney for Lake City, has approved the form and the legality of this RFP. So not only are there exhibits missing, but the attorney has not even gone over it as far as anybody could tell, because normally Mr. Coberline puts it on it. I respectfully point out to you, Mr. Chairman, in the second paragraph, it says, it is the desire of the Lakeshore Hospital Authority to identify interested parties who may wish to participate with the authority in fulfilling its mission. I'm asking you to look at the enabling legislation. I looked at that. The word mission is no place in there. The intent of the legislation is clear. It's to help the indigent and deal with other opportune facilities besides the Lakeshore Hospital in the authority area. The mission is something that's made up by this board. I don't believe you were on the board when they made up the mission, but the purpose of the authority is to comply with the enabling legislation and all the laws and what have you of the state of Florida. As I said, the mission is just something that you guys made up. Quite frankly, I don't even know what the mission is anymore. And I don't know that any members of the board know what the mission is, other than Ms. Chansey. And that's what I have to say. I'm very disappointed to see the way the form of this RFP, the way it went out again, the same way as it did before. And my final, I have a question. You have a public meeting tonight. These responses to this incomplete RFP are due tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. Maybe Mr. Williams can help us, the manager of the authority who's been doing this stuff for, I guess, over 35 years. Why the opening of the packets would not be at a public board meeting instead of being at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning when the board is not around? And my other question is, because last time this was helter-skelter, done the way Columbia County at times did certain things, are these proposals due tomorrow? Or do they just dribble in haphazardly as they did last time via emails and notes to the manager and notes to other people? So is the deadline tomorrow really the deadline? Or is this just a willy-nilly deadline that anybody can do whatever they want, whenever they want, like it happened last time? And that's my two questions. And once again, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your courtesy.
Mr. Walker. Anybody else joining us via Zoom that has any public comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. New business, update and possible action on the approval of the job description for the part-time building attendant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, trustees. As you're aware, Dendy Herndon, who was the facilities director for the main campus, was retained by the authority when CHS closed. Dendy retired in December, and his assistant, Dwayne Cunningham, has been promoted to the facilities director's job. In reviewing the current situation, Dwayne is recommending that, or he is stating that he does not need the same position that he was previously filling, that he believes that all he needs is a building attendant, which is a position that we previously did not have a job description for. I discussed this with Dwayne at length. He seems to be pretty resolved in his comments as to why. In either case, it will serve to save the authority money. Needless to say, Dwayne is not making the same money that Dendy did. And by reducing the maintenance tech position that he previously filled to a building attendant position, that will be at a lesser expense also. I see no reason in the world that we shouldn't honor Dwayne's recommendation. So what I am simply asking the trustees to do tonight is to approve the part-time building attendant job description. And then based on authority policy, we will fill that job.
Question, Mr. Chair. Would that fall under FRS?
The part-time building attendant being a permanent part-time position will, yes, sir.
And all of our employees here are under FRS, aren't they?
Ma'am,
All of our employees here are under
Yes.
FRS, correct?
all but, well, all are.
So it would just be a matter of adding one person to it. It's already established.
Do we have to if he's part-time?
Well,
You
Yeah.
do?
Well, again, we're trading a full-time position for a part-time position at a reduced cost per hour. And primarily the reason for this is, as you can tell from the schedules that you've been provided, all of the systems at the hospital have been kept up to date. A lot of the repair work that was done in-house was completed as Dindy was leaving or before Dindy left. Hopefully, it's just a matter now of being in a maintenance mode with the occasional problem to deal with as we move into hopefully a new tenant. So I see no need that we should continue to budget and spend just because we had the position, and neither does Dwayne. So we're just simply asking for a change in the status of that second position.
Is Dendy open to being called if necessary?
He is. He is.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, Denny and I have spoken a couple of times since he retired. We might have hurt his feelings because we haven't called yet. So no, I'm kidding. He's doing well.
I move that we approve a job description for a part-time building attendant.
Motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Mr. Williams, the Hospital Security Services.
Yes, as you are aware, we have a contract to provide security services 24/7 at the hospital campus. The contractor that we used for that was the one that had been previously retained by Community Health Systems. We simply assumed the contract that they had. They are now seeking an increase in their hourly rate. Now, of course, that we are contracting with them, our policies govern. We're not obviously in the private sector. And based on our policies, we cannot honor the hourly rate requested, the increase in hourly rate. And because we did not select them initially, it would seem that the appropriate thing to do here would simply be to solicit new proposals for security services. Obviously, we want the company that we currently have to submit in relation to that, but we're asking permission to rebid hospital security services. For a bid document, we are going to use the same agreement that we previously had, just modify it where it will be a bid document. But I didn't want to send out a bid document, then send out an agreement, and somebody complained because there's a provision in the agreement they didn't expect or didn't know about. So we're using the very same document that you previously approved. And, we don't think we can do any worse in terms of cost, and we may be able to do a little better.
So is this the proposal? No, that's the agreement.
Yeah, that's just agreement you currently have.
I guess we're making just, if we can bid it out. We're voting on bidding it out.
We're just simply asking permission to solicit bids for security services.
So we make a motion to approve bidding for, or soliciting bids for security services, similar to this? Okay. Is that a motion? Do I have to say it better than that?
I'll second it.
That sounded pretty close to me.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that motion carries. Williams, the Columbia County Public Health Unit.
Yes, of course, this is one of the items discussed under public comment. And we did receive a proposal to consider participating in the CCPHU dental program back in November. We felt it best to kind of hold that because we expect or hope that maybe the public health unit is one of the responders to our request for statements of interest. However, for budgetary reasons, things are changing with them. And so in order to keep ourselves out in front of this, I scheduled it on this agenda. And all I'm asking permission from the trustees to do is to meet with the CCPHU officials. Let's put some numbers to this proposal as to who would be responsible for what, how it may work, maybe come up with an operational plan that we can present back, which you can either approve or disapprove. But I did not want to go through the time and effort to do all of that if there was absolutely no interest in even looking at a dental program on the part of the trustees. For what it's worth, I will tell you, and I have said this before, from the standpoint of staff, which would be me, and I don't want to speak for Sonia and for Cynthia, but I think they would allow me to, or give me grace to, is we see that as being a potentially big part of our future program, or could be a big part of it, because we see a lot of connectivity between the primary care problems and the dental problems. Now, as you are aware, at some point in the future, we will be revisiting our qualification procedures, our medical assistance program. Ultimately, that would determine to what extent we may participate. But until that time, we need to find out just what the logistics of such a problem would be, what we would actually have to do, what the CCPHU would do. There's just a lot of unknown, unanswered questions. But again, I felt like I needed to ask before I started delving too far into it, to make sure that the trustees are okay with that. We don't want to waste their time or ours if there's no interest.
I think it's something we should definitely explore and look into personally.
Previously, and I don't remember what period of time, we were in agreement with the health department and supported a dental program. It was a mobile dental program. And they traveled around the county, went to different schools and stuff like that, and took care of the kids. Now, I don't know what happened to it. Maybe they took care of everybody enough and they didn't feel they were needed. Probably it was the funding, not on our side, but on the other side that went south. First of all, as a mother, and secondly, as a person who worked in hospitals for many years, I will say that dental problems can cause all kinds of other problems. With dental problems, there can be hidden infections starting from the gums, and nobody knows about it, and they treat them for this and that and the other thing. Why aren't they getting better? My personal feeling is that we should allow Dale to go ahead and explore this, get all the details for us that he can, and look at it as an option to sincerely help the people of Columbia County.
If that's a motion, I'll second it.
I could make it one. It's a
Yeah.
motion. You seconded it.
I'll second it.
The motion was to have Dell start the conversation, have this conversation with the Columbia County Public Health. And we got a second. You got something? Mr. Gardner?
Other than agreeing.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that motion carries. You want to say something now or? Comment section or?
I can.
Okay.
Mr. Lilker commented in public comments about the RFP for the statement of interest. Mr. Lilker did find and brought to Sonia's attention, as he stated, we failed to include the 2 attachments as part of the RFP. I don't know whether that is a major omission or whether that is something that you can literally just waive. But because we have time, I think it's best that we just extend the deadline for receiving the RFPs for 1 week to give us a chance to upload that. And what we'll do is we'll notify those proposers that, or those people who submit proposals, that if they want another week to either revise the original proposal they submitted or to change it in any way they can. I just don't see where this should be an issue, because in this case, we have time to cure it. That's number one, and we are doing that. Secondly, there was a comment made about why it wasn't reviewed legally. It's the same ad that was ran initially. Saw no need to have it reviewed twice. So we did that, and I don't know if I'm missing a question I should answer or not, but the proposals, the deadline is 10 o'clock tomorrow. Now it will be February 22nd at 10. We will not be opening or recording any received proposals tomorrow. They're done outside of a commission meeting for the simple reason is we want a chance to review the material, summarize it, where it can be presented. If you open them in a meeting, you're going to have to wait an entire month before you can realistically discuss them. I think that's pretty common with most bids. They're opened outside of meetings, tabulated with information presented. And this is no different. So as far as the request for proposals for the statements of interest go, the new deadline will be the 22nd at 10. We will correct the ad. Any other questions about those? I'll be glad to answer. Okay.
Since today is Valentine's Day, we'll let you read the staff report that's included in your packet, available to the public. Board member comments, Ms. Chancey.
Just happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have.
Oh,
Kennedy.
And I will echo that. And I would like to comment that 2 weeks ago, because of Sonia and Cynthia, they arranged for me to have a whole complete tour of the campus, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was very eye-opening and just a big project.
Absolutely. Carolinas Valentine's, you have anything you want to say?
Just thank you, Mr. Williams, for the Valentine's gram that you sent to my office and the teddy bear and the flowers. I appreciate it.
yeah, okay.
What I didn't get one of those. Douglas,
No, I'm good.
Williams, anything else?
The attorney has the wrong Williams.
We've exhausted the agenda for this evening, so if there's no other business that needs to be discussed, we'll go ahead and adjourn.